insecurity, you don't necessarily have to qualify for food stamps. So we know that number is going to be higher of students who are in need of food. And so the client for my thesis project is Food and Shelter, which is a non-profit food resource program located a little under 2 miles away from campus. And what Food and Shelter does is they serve a hot breakfast and lunch 7 days a week to any person in need. There is no qualification to go. You can just show up, have a meal, go home, get it to go, whatever you please. And so looking at everything, I looked into the health belief model, which basically relies on 6 key concepts that if a person feels they are susceptible, the issue is severe, susceptible to getting a health-related issue. So this would be being chronically hungry. So if they believe that is severe enough, that there are benefits, so going to Food and Shelter would benefit them. The barriers are low to not being hungry. They have cues to action. They know how to assess the issue, and their self-efficacy is high enough that they will take this health-related action and change a behavior. And so what I am doing is I'm going to use an online survey, and each question has been coded to address each 6 key concepts. And so when I do my research, I will use multiple regression, and I will analyze the dependent variable of going to Food and Shelter against each of these 6 key concepts, so I can see what is preventing students from using this food resource. And so essentially the main findings right now is that students are unaware of the issue, and this is from word of mouth. And I spent my summer actually volunteering and shadowing at Food and Shelter, and so there's also, the food director believes that there's a stigma because at Food and Shelter it's basically a soup kitchen, so you have a lot of Norman local homeless who will go, as well as just very low income. And so the food director believes, coming in as an OU college student, like, oh, I'm not going to go eat with someone who's homeless, I don't need to do that, or there are just other different variables. And so that is why I'm doing this. But more importantly, this is to foster the promise of higher education as a tool for bettering someone's future. And I believe that universities they should be meeting that promise with sufficient financial and social support for students in the sector of food security. So this also, by using a strategic communication campaign, once I have all my data collected, I will compile an implementation plan and hand it over to Food and Shelter, letting them know, here's what I found, here is how you can reach OU students. Here's why they're not coming, here's the issue. And so I will use an implementation plan, present it to them, and see how they proceed, since I will be graduating in May. But this has just been such a huge issue, and it's interesting because now students find hunger and food to be something that's normalized in college. So on Twitter, there's a lot of talk. It's like, oh, I have $4 in my bank account and I'm eating a peanut butter and jelly for dinner, or peanut butter and jelly sandwich for dinner, and that's just college. You're supposed to be living on nickels and dimes, and you're supposed to be hungry and you're supposed to be tired. But research shows that students are dropping out of school. So it's what is the whole entire purpose now, for going to college in the first place. If you're hungry and it's causing you to fail your classes, not do well academically, take on more hours. There are students, it's insane, who are working 40 plus hours a week, going to class full time, and still do not have enough money for food at the end of the day, just because everything now, medical expenses, it's too much. And so groceries, honestly, surprisingly come last on that list. Because you have to pay your rent, you get evicted, you have to pay for your textbooks to pass your classes, all of these things. And so at the end of the day, students just don't have enough money to pay for food. And so that is what I am focusing on and learning about. And I'd like to open it up to see if you guys have any specific questions.